Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining us for another Resource Hub video. Today we're going to be talking about divination by data and predicting the future through measurement. So what we're going to run through is what is measurement and why it's important, some recent changes in the world of measurement, which marketing metrics matter, a bit about data visualization, we'll talk about some analytics updates as well, and some key takeaways to finish off. So let's get started with measuring digital campaign success. When we think about measurement in terms of marketing purposes, it's essentially a way for you to understand and measure the effectiveness of your campaigns. It'll give you a better understanding of where you should spend your budget, what's worked and what hasn't. And by looking at and analysing the data from your campaigns and your marketing efforts, it'll sort of help you know where to put your marketing budget, help you make informed data-driven decisions, and allow you to sort of get that overall understanding of what's been going on, and you can feed that back to your stakeholders and your senior management team as well. So it's really important to have a sort of robust measurement plan set up in place before you start anything. Essentially, you want to understand and you want to know what can be measured, what can't be measured, what KPIs you're looking at, and what does success mean. So the new world of measurement, a lot has changed when it comes to measurement. A lot of this really was brought on by GA4 last year. And with that, there have been a number of new privacy regulations. So ad targeting and ad personalizations are a lot less granular. You have GDPR now, things have to be a lot more compliant, and how you collect and store users' data has changed massively. And that is just going to have naturally a knock-on effect on your targeting and your personalization and what you can do. You've then got the rise of ad blockers, which is essentially what it looks like. It essentially prevents your ads from serving, and it makes it a lot harder to track conversions as well. So again, it just makes it a lot more tricky to really understand the overall impact of your marketing campaign at times. And there have been a number of platform changes. So a lot of browsers have removed their third-party cookies, and this will make some of your cookie-based marketing tactics less effective. I know Chrome have pushed theirs out again into next year, but Safari have completely removed their third-party cookies, and their conversion windows are a lot shorter as well. And it's like this for most platforms. I think it's down to like 24 hours, which is nothing really. So it's just important to think about all these things when it comes to your measurement plan. But Google have come up with a few solutions to try and help combat this. So the first one is consent mode, and this allows you to adjust how your Google tags behave based on the consent status of users. You've also got enhanced conversions, and it allows conversion tags to capture hashed consumer data that advertisers collect on their conversion page and matches it against Google account logged in data. You've also got conversion modeling, and this uses observable signals to help unlock a more complete picture of your performance in a privacy safe way. I've also included first-party data here. Now, I totally appreciate this is not a Google-specific solution, but first-party data is so important at the moment. It can really improve, and it can help improve the signals and machine learning in your ads account. So your first-party data is like gold dust. The better data you put into the machines, the automation and the machine learning will really be able to kick in and understand the types of users you want to target. So if you haven't thought about first-party data or having sort of a first-party data strategy, I really, really recommend that you do so because it's crucial now in this new world of measurement. And this brings us on to the Trinity of measurement. So these are some of the three things that you want to think about when you're looking at measurement, when you're looking at your plan, when you're looking at setting up your campaigns. So you've got your Google Tag Manager, which is essentially how you're going to track what you're wanting to measure, those KPIs, those main goals. You've got Google Ads, which will help you understand the performance of your campaigns and sort of evaluate what's working and what's not. You've got Google Analytics, which will give you sort of a more holistic understanding of your user journey and your data, what people are doing on your site and how people are engaging with your site. And this is then pulled together by Looker Studio in a really easy, digestible way. And it just helps you essentially visualize all of that data from all of those three different platforms in one place. So when it comes to measurement setup, this is what we would suggest. For Google Analytics, we would say in getting your enhanced conversion set up, because this improves conversion measurement accuracy and it enables more powerful bidding in your Google Ads. And it collects and hashes first-party data to identify any misconversions. So that's really important. You then also want to look at your custom events. So this is going to collect any additional data beyond the sort of default that Google Analytics provides. And then it'll give you more granular insights into specific user actions. So for example, if you're an e-commerce business, your main goal is going to be sales and purchases. It's really, really important to have that set up as a custom event in GA4 to understand what users are purchasing and who aren't essentially coming from your campaigns. And then you've also, I suppose, other important metrics would be things like add to carts and add to baskets. That would be, although it's not the sort of end goal, it's still really useful to know that information. How many people are adding a product to their cart and not buying. That might then lead to an issue that you didn't know existed, and it'll allow you to sort of check up on that and make sure everything's working. And then with Google Ads, we have primary conversions. So the main campaign objective essentially is what your primary conversion is. And you want to use that for the campaign because it's going to help with optimization, bidding, and targeting. And it's reported in the conversion columns. And as I say, it's used for bidding. If to go back to the e-commerce example, that would be a purchase. That would be the main goal of your campaign. And this is what you want Google to optimize for, to find users who are going to most likely to purchase. So you'd want to set that as your primary conversion. And then your secondary conversions are essentially just a little bit less important, but still really, really helpful, valuable, and useful to track. They aren't used for optimization, bidding, or targeting. They're just used for observation purposes. And you'll find those in the all conversions column in your ads account. And again, they're just used for observation. But really useful to know if we go back to the e-commerce example. So say someone goes onto your site, maybe they didn't purchase, but maybe they signed up for a newsletter or completed another valuable action that you'd want to know about. So this is a good way to sort of have that set up in your ads account to understand sort of what your users are doing. And yes, they may not have purchased, but they've done this as well. So it's really good information to know. So which marketing metrics matter? It's a very good question. So when it comes to your Google Ads, these are sort of some of the suggested metrics to look at from sort of our point of view. But, you've got your conversion rate in there, your conversions, your return on ad spend as well, your cost per acquisition. But it's also important not to just focus on that sort of end goal metric. You want to look at things like your click-through rate, your quality score, through view conversions, and so on and so forth, because you want to, again, just get a better understanding of what your users are doing, how they're engaging with your ads, how they're engaging with your site, really sort of get into the sort of depths of that user journey, making sure that you have something available at each touch point for that user. So this is sort of some of the stuff we would focus on. So it's just important to obviously focus on your conversions and your end goal, but also look at the bigger picture as well to make sure you're covering all bases. Similar with Google Analytics, obviously you want to look at your average order value, your lifetime value, daily purchasers, funnel conversion rate, but you also want to think about, your average engagement time on your site, the percentage of items per order, how many new users are coming on to your site and completing a valuable action, any new subscribers, average page load time, churn probability. You just want to understand exactly what your users are doing, making sure that you're reaching them at every touch point and sort of taking them along the journey. Conversions are really important, but so are all the other metrics as well. Just again, to give you that 360 view, knowing exactly what users are like and don't like on your site can again just help you make more informed decisions.
So you've got your measurement set up and you've got all this great data coming in, but now what? At GlowMetrics, our next step that we would suggest is data visualization. So it can be pretty hard to interpret data from your campaigns for a number of reasons. You might run into really large data sets, especially if these are campaigns that you've been running for a while. You also get data fragmentation across platforms, so it's really hard to compare and contrast your Meta campaigns from your LinkedIn campaigns, for example, if you're just looking at your analytics on like the individual platforms. And all this as well can contribute to a lack of context. So you're not seeing your data change over time. You can't compare metrics to each other. And all of these issues can lead to analysis paralysis. So all this data that was meant to be helping you is now hindering you, and actually you've just got too much information that you don't know what to do with, and you can't make a decision. So what can we do to mitigate these problems? So in GlowMetrics, we use Looker Studio for visualizing our campaign data. For those of you who might not know, Looker Studio is Google's reporting and data visualization tool. Looker Studio is really customizable. You can kind of pick and choose exactly what it is that you want to see from your data. And that means that only the most relevant data is collated in a really easily interpretable way in the form of a dashboard. And so this can mean people with different requirements can get different reports. So this might be an overview for one thing, and then a really detailed report go in really in depth for another. It's also really customizable, so you can easily change date ranges and filter by different dimensions, like country or audience type, for example. And it's also really easily shared with other people, be that colleagues or clients, shareholders. You can add people directly to your dashboards, or you can send them in emails or download them as PDF. So all really useful to be able to do. So what can Looker Studio do to help us mitigate those problems that we talked about that we can face when interpreting campaign data and avoid analysis paralysis? So first things first, it can unify our data all in one place. So Looker Studio has lots of different connectors. So we've got the 23 Google connectors. It's a Google product, but also hundreds of different partner connectors, including like direct connectors for Meta and for LinkedIn, Amazon, lots of others. So you can have all the data from your different campaigns in one place, and you can compare and contrast them to each other. Looker Studio and data visualization in general as well can help you use visuals to promote storytelling. And we know how important that is in marketing. So Looker Studio helps you do just that. Here are a couple of examples that we have put together. And I think you would agree that these create a much more compelling story than if I was to show you this exact same information, but just through an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheet. So this can be really helpful if you're trying to engage and communicate information effectively to clients or to stakeholders or perhaps C-suite. This can be really helpful. Looker Studio can also help you make faster data-driven decisions, which is really important. It's so vital to be reactive. Here are just a few examples of the widgets that you can use in Looker Studio to kind of help you keep an eye on things. I'll just highlight in the top left there, we've got a gauge which is showing how much of the budget has been used and how much is left. So this can be great to put on the top of your dashboard, just help you keep an eye. And then you know whenever the budget is showing is near the end, that you can use something like the pie chart below it, which is showing different channels, and you can have a look at which channel is doing the best and put the end of that budget there. Or something like this map widget, you can have a look at the areas which are doing the best and direct that budget there. So lastly, And probably most importantly, is that Looker Studio can really help you identify errors, problems, and trends. So just data visualization in general will help you do this, because once you see your data like nicely laid out like this, any issues will tend to stick out. And I will just highlight up in the top left, we've got a funnel. So we will quite often create a purchase journey funnel for our clients. So you would have each individual step: view item, add to cart, begin checkout, and then purchase. And you can see where users have dropped off in between. So we actually use a very similar funnel to this with one of our clients. We noticed that there was a real issue with users dropping off from beginning the checkout to actually purchasing. And we did have a look at their Google Ads or their GA4 and couldn't see any issues that stuck out. So we actually turned to some user experience tools, namely Hotjar. And if you don't know, Hotjar allows you to look at session recordings of your users on your site. So we had a look at a few of them, and we found that we could see people were getting really confused with the checkout. And this just supported what we could see from our data. So we were able to go to this client and show them the funnel and these videos and suggest that maybe they take a look at their checkout and make some changes. And they did, because they were able to trust that data. And now that drop off is much better.
So we're going to take a look at how you can use your past data to sort of help you with future campaigns and understanding what to do and what not to do. So we've sort of put together a bit of a list of things to sort of check off, if you like, when it comes to your past campaigns. So your campaign is ran for a month, a quarter, whatever it was. So what learnings can you take from it? So first of all, you want to review the content that you used. This can be content in your sort of ad copy and as well as your landing page. You know, what did it say? You know, what were the call to actions? Did you think it worked? Do you think it could have been better? And again, just reviewing that and sort of seeing if anything can be changed or improved. And then you want to look at your landing page. You know, what landing page did you use? Did you find that the bounce rate was high? Did you find that the engagement time was longer in comparison to maybe some other landing pages? And why do you think that was? Again, looking at what's on the landing pages, images, call to actions, layout, headings. Do you think it's easy on the eye, easy to understand? Things like that. So I would view the landing page second, and then you want to look at, thirdly, you want to look at products. So what products did you use? What products was your campaign promoting? You know, were they best sellers? Was it sort of new in? Are they more high-end products, more sort of universal products, things like that? And what you're planning on taking into your next campaign. You know, do you think these products would do well again? Do you think it was a seasonality trend? Things like that. Goes without saying, you want to deep dive into your data. You want to look at any trends, any peaks in traffic, sort of any dips. You know, why was that? You know, could it have been, again, the time of year? Was it the type of product? You know, was, for example, in Black Friday, Christmas, you might see a lull leading up to those sort of key dates, and then huge spikes closer to the time. So yeah, just kind of understanding those trends and figuring out sort of what caused them, essentially, and bringing that information onto your next campaign. You want to review the budget. How much did you spend? How much are you planning to spend on your next campaign? Is it more? Is it less? This is going to naturally have a knock-on effect on the performance of the overall campaign. So it's just good to understand what your budget is and how to best utilize it. And then you want to know your measurement limits. You know, there are unfortunately some things that cannot be tracked. For example, if you're looking for somebody to fill out a form that goes to sort of another page or another domain that may not be trackable. You know, for example, if you're looking at a Microsoft form or an iframe, something like that, it can be quite tricky to track, if at all, to be honest. So it's important to know what can be tracked, what can't be tracked. And if something can't be tracked, then sort of what's the alternative? What can you use instead that would be as valuable? You know, maybe it's not a form submission, but maybe it's a click to a form. Maybe it's another action on your site that you think is valuable for that campaign. But it's important to know this obviously before you get started, because you don't want to get to the end to only realize that, oh, what I wanted can't be tracked, because that would be very unfortunate. And then now that you have the data from your past campaign, you can sort of gain further insights and sort of prepare a bit better for the future. Maybe you thought some of the landing page could have been better. Maybe the call to action could have been reworded, or maybe you think, the coloring was wrong, or images could have been swapped out. So this is a great opportunity for A/B testing to look at, various tests that you can do, having a bit of time to do so, and just seeing if any improvements can come from that. You've then got CRO, so conversion rate optimization. It's really good getting the traffic to your site, but you want to convert that traffic. You want to look at the engagement, you want to look at your user behavior to see if there's anything that you can do to improve that, or improve that experience for your user in order to get them to convert. And then you want to look at your user experience or your UX. This is kind of an ongoing thing that you should probably continuously observe and look at, but the user experience is imperative. You want to make sure that a user comes onto your site and understands what they have to do. You don't want to overcomplicate the experience for them, because they'll just leave and go to a competitor. And this can be really damaging for your brand as well if you have sort of a bad UX. So it's important to review that as well. And audience insights is another really, really great sort of tool to use if you like. Who are your audience? What are their pain points? What they like, what they don't like, and how you're going to sort of solve their problems essentially.
Okay, so how can analytics help you actually forecast the future? So GA4 has got some great tools to help you do just that. First one we'll discuss here is their AI-powered insights. So these live on the homepage of your GA4 account, and they let you automatically identify opportunities and insights using GA4's machine learning. So you can open up the insights panel like you can see here, and you're able to search through the list of questions they've kind of suggested already pre-filled for you, or you can type one in and it'll automatically give you an answer. So a practical example maybe of how you can use this, you could ask, when are users most likely to be on my site? And it might come back that you always get a spike in users in the evening, maybe around 7 p.m. So you can use that information to inform your email marketing and your ads, and push those out in the evening time when you know that your users are most likely to be online. And GA4 also now allows you to use predictive analytics. So they do this in two key ways. First of all, predictive metrics. So there's three main ones. Churn probability. So this is the likelihood of a user becoming inactive in the next 7 days. Purchase probability, the likelihood of that user making a purchase in the next 7 days. And then revenue prediction, so the estimated revenue. And then we've got predictive audiences. So those are dynamic segments that are created based on those predictive metrics. So you can target users with specific behaviors and create audiences for those users who are most likely to churn or most likely to make a purchase. A bit of a practical example, if you are a business and you are looking to increase your conversions, you might choose to target an audience of users who have a high purchase probability. But if you are looking to try to hang on to those users that are most likely to churn, you might employ some retention strategies.
So we've come to the end of our talk. So I'm just going to take you through some of the takeaways that we'd love for you to take with you, if you take anything. So number one, metrics matter. Your metrics will tell you exactly what's going on with your campaign and your marketing efforts. So it's important to review those, to keep on top of them and make any changes based on what you find. secondly, build a first party data strategy if you haven't already. Think of it like a currency exchange. You want to give something to your user that's really, really valuable, and therefore they're more than happy to give up their personal information for it. It's like a value exchange. So have a think about ways that you can capture that first party data, be that maybe it's a report or some insight in your industry that would be really, really beneficial for your users or your customers to know about. So yeah, I would highly, highly recommend getting a first party data strategy in place as soon as you can. And again, using that first party data to feed the machines. The better the data that you give the machines, the better the outcomes are going to be. And then you want to use GA4's predictive analytics options that Hannah spoke about previously. They'll provide you with some really great insights. And again, it'll sort of help you with your future campaigns and your campaigns in general to understand what's going on essentially in any key trends. Be bold and disruptive in the comfort of data. Don't be afraid to make maybe sort of more difficult decisions that you're a bit unsure about, because you have the data there to back it up. You've done everything sort of through to the end, so you know what will work and what won't. So just go for it. And the only way to protect the future is to create it. So you have everything there that you need. So don't be afraid, essentially, and just go for it. You've got all the data. So use it as best as you can. And that's it really from us. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you do have any questions about anything that we spoke about, feel free to contact myself or Hannah whenever. And don't forget to give us a follow on our socials to keep up with all things digital marketing and analytics and GlowMetrics. But thank you so much.